Welcome back, everyone, to Link by Golf. Today I'm joined by the golf course superintendent at Queenwood Golf Club, Steven Richardson. Steven, great to see you. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Really good, thank you. Yeah, thanks for inviting me on. It's been a while.
It has been a while, quite a long while actually in our case. So yeah, Steven, and that, what I wanted to catch up with you first of all is basically where you're from, where you grew up, and how you get into golf. What was it that piqued your interest in the game?
Well, as you know, I grew up. My mother was born in Bells Hill. Did a lot of football as a kid, and a lot of shinty as a kid, and that was up in Oban, where my best friend at the time, Andy McFarlane's dad, John McFarlane, played shinty, ran a shinty team. So he was a teacher at Blantyre High, started a junior team. Anyway, so we travelled round the north of Scotland and the west coast of Scotland playing shinty. He happened to have a croft, and I just loved going up there. I was always in trouble at school, so I was getting suspended all the time, so I used to get sent up to this croft all the time. It kept me out of trouble, and I loved it. And I was never ever going to be like pro golfer, but combining the two was kind of where the greenkeeping side came into it. At that time, we had to do some work experience, and I went to Bothwell Castle. And that was like January, I can't remember now what year it was. That was January 95, maybe, something like that. 95, 96. And we then, done a week there, really loved that. I just finished my exams, so I wasn't 16. And I got offered a summer job at Bothwell Castle. So
okay.
Kind of late May. I remember it like it was yesterday. Late May.
And Bothwell, it's a lovely place, isn't it? For the people listening, there's no idea, but it's a fantastic golf course. Really beautiful.
It's a parkland golf course, but it's quite a scenic parkland golf course. And that was my kind of you get free membership, so I had to get a bus there because I was so young. And I got to work there, which I enjoyed. So I had a tractor and used to juice the different fairways for the summer, and then got offered an apprenticeship. Accepted that. The weird story of where this begins is the guy who gave me the apprenticeship was a guy called Neil McLennan.
Right.
Who turned out to be Chris Kennedy at Wentworth's very first apprentice, along with Jim McKenzie, who's now at Celtic Manor. Right?
Okay.
This is the weird link of kind of the golf industry, of how close knit it is.
Yeah.
So I had 3 years at Bothwell. It was okay. I went to Elmwood College in Cooper, where a lot of that are now good superintendents around the world. It's amazing what a bunch of young alcoholics have achieved over the years when I tell you some of the names. But yeah, it was funny. So good times at college. I left. I was getting kind of bored, really, to be honest, at Bothwell. And I was getting a bit of trouble at Motherwell as well. So I was kind of getting down the wrong path, and just happened to phone. I was looking through jobs, and Wentworth was on the notice boards at college, and I phoned Chris. Chris obviously knew Neil, told me the story about Neil, and I had a job at the end of that telephone call.
No way. So you've literally been in college, you've seen a board in college, and it's got a Wentworth job on it. Because that was one of the things I wanted to find out was how did you get into Wentworth and what was the process?
Yeah, it really was nothing. It was the fact I knew Neil, and he obviously must have phoned Neil, but it was quite amazing the way that went. And then when I went down there, that was like restarting an apprenticeship all over again. That was a different league. They had, at that time, they had 3 tournaments a year, televised tournaments. They were, at that time, they were the Volvo, which was the Volvo PGA.
Yeah.
That was the first year that Colin Montgomery kind of absolutely destroyed it in 1999. I remember
So that was when you went down, you joined that year.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
just circling back then, what age were you at that time, Stephen?
I think I was about 19, something like that. No, 17. Yeah, I was real young. But the good thing was there was about 40 greenkeepers at that time in Wentworth, and I reckon probably 30 of them were Scottish.
40? 40?
Yeah,
Wow.
40, about 30 of them were Scottish, and probably about 10 to 15 within a 5-year age group of me. So it was cracking. It was good. It was, you were the new boy for a while and stuff, but that soon passed and you're out having a bit of fun and learning. But as I say, it was busy because the 3 tournaments a year of the Volvo PGA, then was the Seniors Masters in the Edinburgh, and then it was the World Match Play in October.
Yeah, and that was a great tournament, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Tiger Woods played the them all year. Crazy. So I was there for 4 years. I worked on the East Coast, obviously the West Coast for tournaments, month prior, a couple of weeks prior, then after, and then I worked mainly on the Edinburgh coast with a guy called Ian Morrison, who's now in charge of the Berkshire.
Right, and that's an amazing setup as well there too.
Golf course, yeah, unbelievable golf course. So Moggy really taught me, if I'm being honest with you. He really brought me on as a person and taught me all about greenkeeping properly. I would say it is the truth of the matter. He was fantastic, and I owe him a lot to this day.
How did you? So you're going down there, Stephen. You're only 19, maybe 20 if you're lucky. How did that feel, going down there and just having this big change in your life? Because Motherwell's a great town, right? That's where we're both from. It's a wee bit different to Virginia Water and Wentworth. So, yeah, what did that feel like?
It was a massive culture shock. There's no doubt about that. But I think that, you're a young lad. There's a lot around it for a young lad to do. You've got as much golf as you can cope with for free. You're living in free accommodation. I played football as well. I started back playing football when I met a couple of guys. So within a year, I joined the team playing Saturday and Sundays. So I made a ton of friends, and do you know what? It was brilliant.
I can imagine, Stephen. I mean, what a place to be. First of all, working.
How low our wages were, you always had a couple of quid in your pocket for a pint, always.
And then you said you played a lot. Did you? Obviously, it was, I guess, Wentworth you were playing a lot. So
yeah,
how often would you go out there?
Back then, you could play any golf course, anytime, when you wanted.
Wow.
And you could bring 20 guests a year. You could bring as many guests as you wanted a year as well. So you can imagine I got a lot of phone calls from Motherwell about that. And
yeah.
brought a lot of the electric bar guys down, or the older ones, and that kind of a bit of a thing.
Right.
Yeah. And they do our entertainment for a weekend. You know what they're like? They're so funny. And all my mates loved them, so I'd get 4 or 5 of my pals, we'd sign maybe, 2 or 3 each on, and then they'd all just go out and play a big tournament across all the courses all weekend for them. And it was nothing.
That's like a dream golf outing for anybody, never mind just phoning up your mates and saying, do you want to come down and get some golf played?
And we had some of the stories for there were just phenomenal. And Gary Irwin, the older Gary Irwin was always at the front of that queue, and he could see, his personalities, like he just fits in with anybody, it doesn't matter who it is, and he was hilarious. Every trip, hilarious.
Brilliant.
That was good. I missed the days. The days were real good. We worked real hard, but you know what, we had some fun.
Yeah. And I think that it's interesting, Stephen. I think that's going to be a theme that comes throughout this, that you talked about you're starting out and you're working with guys that are more experienced, but clearly there's something about you as a character that's made you stand out. And I'm guessing hard work's just at the core of that to begin with. So it was phenomenal you've been through those journeys.
It was, and I owe a lot to Wentworth because that's a big stepping stone or a big learning curve. The 3 golf courses there, the 3 tournaments a year, construction, you do all the chemical side of work and stuff, and you learn that at a very young age. You know, Moggy, as I say, got on his trust very early. I was young and I was keen, so I'd watch all hours for him and then just get time back in the winter, you know, to do whatever, go home or whatever I wanted. So that was great.
Yeah, and I was going to say, so from Wentworth, that experience that you're talking about and the hard work, you get the opportunity to go to Pinehurst.
Yeah, that's right.
So how did that come about?
That came about, I was ready again for a change. It was the same stuff I was doing and I was just looking on a hamster wheel as such, and I was still keen and eager and lots to learn. And even Moggy said to me, why don't you go to America? And I said, I think I will. And I went over there to actually learn about irrigation.
Right.
Because I hadn't done much irrigation at that point. And by luck, I got trained with a really, really good guy I still keep in contact with. They were constructing a number 3 golf course at the time, but they were installing irrigation in-house, which is not done by a lot of Americans. And I got to be part of that, so that was an amazing learning experience.
And the timing as well, the year you went.
No, but that wasn't quite the year I went, but...
okay.
So I spent a year and a bit doing that, and I was learning something completely new. It wasn't just going out there for greenkeeping. It was going out to learn about irrigation. It was another string to my bow to come back home to get into management type thing. And Paul Jett, his name was the superintendent in Course 2 at the time, and he saw me tearing in like a tough area, and he's like, how did you learn to do that? I was like, well, it's always should be like. He's like, I've never seen anything so neat and tidy. How do you fancy coming to work the US Open for me? I was like, sure. So my visa extension was close to running out, so I went back to Wentworth for a year.
Right, I see.
Phoned up Mog, and he's like, look, we're short. This is perfect. You've just done irrigation. There's just been something fitted. Do you want to look after that and then work with me? Just do a year. You can go and play football, see your pals, and then go back again. Following February, I think it was. Yeah, it might have been 7 months. It was. I thought, yes, perfect. So, into the football season, straight into football, just went, seen my mates, worked what I had to do, helped Moggy out, following March back out to Pinehurst, straight onto Course 2 for preparation for the US Open.
And a decent year for the US Open as well.
Yeah, well, you say that. 2005 was the US Open there. And it was the biggest roar for second place I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody left and left Michael Campbell to receive this trophy. It was so surreal.
And that was the question I was wanting to ask. Like, what was it like coming down the stretch? I'm guessing you were still working in some capacity at that point.
It kind of was. We were doing something that was your own calls. You're driving around in case anything happens.
Yeah.
You with tools and jump straight to it, whether it be anything from watering, from a damaged a hole, or a mark in a green, whatever, anything like that. We deal with that. But I can't remember who it was, but there was 2 groups that were so slow that were leading it that fell behind.
Ah, right.
I can't remember the names now. It's a long time ago. 20 years ago.
It's only 20 years.
18 years ago, but obviously Michael Campbell won it in the end deservedly, and then just fell off the face of the earth after that. And Tiger Woods was second, but Tiger Woods came to practice a lot that year. So we'd get called in randomly at 5 in the morning, not told a thing. And you'd be setting up the golf course. And about 6:30, you'd just see 2 guys wandering down the fairway, the caddies. And it was always Tiger Woods and his caddy, Steve Williams, playing together. And
wow.
He'd start off with no one knowing, so he'd talk to you. And obviously, he's literally following us around the cup. And by the 3rd hole, there was probably 10 people. And I reckon by the 18th hole, There's probably 150 people round the green. They'd heard he was playing.
Just out of nowhere.
Just word of mouth. That's why they didn't tell anyone. So they'd fly in early. I think he came in Muirfield Village the night before to there. But yeah, this will make you laugh. Again, Pinehurst was full of interns, they were called. There must be about 30 of them, and probably 20 of them were British.
Right.
British, Aussies. So it was wild at night. I mean, wild. So good. So much fun. Met so many people. I mean, and you know, like some of them now are on the live tour, as in working wise. Some of them worked at Augusta. Some of them worked for the PGA.
Wow.
So they're now, most of them are at live now, doing all the kind of media and the tournament work for them. That was all for the Pinehurst. Pinehurst created so many jobs for people, you know. I know loads of people, and actually the guys that were kind of like foremen or kind of assistant managers or trainee managers are all now running Pinehurst to this day.
Wow.
I go back and you see them all, and it's just like us growing up. I haven't seen them for 20 years, and I bumped into them in a show in Phoenix a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, it's had a bit of fun there. So 2005, time had come up to come home September 2005/October. Again, I had a job at Wentworth. Yeah, I got just a full job to get me through the season. I'd planned to go to Australia.
Okay.
Annually, because it was like, fuck, going back to England at this time of the year. You know, I've been on for like the last almost a year and a half. It's like, I don't want to come back and do another winter on the south coast blowing leaves. So, I'm out raking bunkers one day, and Moggy said to me, "What are you doing with your life?" I said, "I'm going to Australia." What are you going to do in 6 months? I'd probably be back here again. And he's like, "You need to get a life." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Look, there's a deputy head's job being advertised at Sunningdale. Why don't you apply for it? There's a head one as well, the deputy of the Edinburgh, who, again, is a massive part of my career. I'm going to apply for the head man's job." So I was like, "Moggy, I'm going to Australia. I've got a great job. I'm going to have more fun. Like, just apply. It's not going to do any harm." I was like, "All right, I'll apply." So we were all set for Australia, start of January 2006. And I applied for this assistant head's job. I got a phone call the same day, and a CV went in. I would get an interview within a few days. Second interview, and then it kind of like, not quiet, but dragged on a bit. And I was like, just like quite a lot of interviews for like just what the position is. Just tell me, you know, I'm going, you know.
Yeah.
So post manager Murray Long at the time called me up. He was a lovely guy. He took me to another level as well in greenkeeping. He kind of, now bear in mind, I'm an assistant greenkeeper at this point. I'm just a guy off the streets that's just well experienced, travelled the world, you know, done a lot of golf tournaments, but at the end of the day, I'm still, I think I was 24 then or something like that, 25. Calls me up to his kitchen. And this was another moment of like, huh? Like, "Steven, have a seat." And I was like, "I'm sorry to tell you this, I'm not going to give you the assistant head's job." I was like, all this time, you know.
Thanks for bringing me up here.
I'm going to give you the head man's job instead.
Wow.
And I was like, can I think about it? You know, I was kind of so like taken aback. And
that's unbelievable. Wow.
Mental. Massive turning point. Yeah, so it gave me a couple of days to think about that, and I obviously accepted a few days later, but the guy that had spent most of my days with on the Edinburgh course was the deputy head who'd applied for the head man's job.
Right.
That was the big sore point, telling him that I had got that job he'd been dying for. That was hard.
Yeah.
Really, very proud, and it's quite a tough cookie, and quite, it was quite hard to tell him. Although, you know, my boss was over the moon for me and I was ecstatic. It wasn't very nice having to tell him that, you know, someone who you've trained essentially has got the job you want.
And I guess from your point of view, there's that balance of the elation that you've got, and also you're showing a lot of empathy there for someone you've known for such a long time and know so well.
As soon as, like, I was buzzing driving down the road from Sunningdale to Wentworth, as you know, it's not long.
No.
And then I'm halfway down the road and I'm thinking, oh no, Scott. So, like, by the time I got to the gatehouse, I must have texted Moggy. So Chris Kennedy and Moggy are waiting at the gatehouse for me to come and congratulate me and cuddle me. And
yeah, no wonder.
Feeling. And then we both grabbed each other and went, oh, Scott. I said, I know. Who's? I was like, I'll have to tell him. And yeah, that was hard. I remember that too. It was just weird, didn't it? I remember certain things.
But it's a huge point in your life. At such a young age.
Oh, it was huge. And it was like, right, here's your office, you're sharing this with the head of the old course at the time, a guy called Mark Openshot. Nice guy. Here's your office, here's your computer. I'm like, but if you need anything from me, just come and get me at the office. Just go do your thing. And he helped me, and, you know, there's things I needed help on, which he just guided me. But basically just let me use my experience of all these tournament golf courses and feed it into the new. The team was only, I don't know, 7 or 8 people, so it wasn't big.
Wow, that's not a lot of guys for such a big golf course as well.
But it kind of looks after itself a bit, that golf course, so it was enough. But the problem was they were all older than me. So that was a bit strange. They took a while to get used to me, and I was quite abrupt with them, and we found our feet, and we got on, and, you know, I just went forth from there. There was a guy we had at that time, like, every year we had the final qualifying for the Open there. The tournament director was a guy called Martin Kippax, and he opened my eyes into architecture. Like, there was a lot of nouns that were on the new course that Colt had meant to be pronounced, and they'd all just been overgrown and things, and he pointed them out to me, and it's like something switched in my head. All of a sudden, I just seen them everywhere around the golf course. And from that day, like, actually, we'd actually just signed to take on Martin Hawtrey to do a re-evaluation of both golf courses and do a master plan for us. And he's obviously, his father was a relation of Colt, and it's a Colt background.
Right.
So we then worked with Martin Hawtrey for the 5.5 years I was there. Learned a huge amount of him. Respect the man very highly to this day. You know, there's nobody a lot better than he is out there, and he's what a career he's had.
But it must have been nice, Stephen, and you're downplaying a lot of your own experience and what you're seeing, but looking at a golf course, and I've never been round Sunningdale, I've only seen it from the sides. I'm just trying to picture in my mind that you're going out there and suddenly you're seeing these hidden pieces of the golf course that are just needing to be brought to life again. And it must be really exciting to do that.
It was. And once you got on top of them and you got them down, the holes just came alive then, you know. It was like backdrops to the holes, and once this kind of Heather Mounds emphasised, it was all amphitheatres round them, and it just took it to a whole new level, and that was a big thing in my career going forward from then that I used. It was like vision. I just kind of have this vision for stuff, and it just comes naturally. It's kind of really been a big part of my career. And I love that kind of stuff. So, hence the reason where I'm going right now is the massive part.
We'll get to that. That's very exciting for you. So, Sunningdale, I mean, what a place. And then you take another step. So you go down to Parkstone.
Well, yeah, Sunningdale first we done. We had 2 ladies opens and a seniors open there, and then the 5 IFQs. So again, that was good tournament standard golf. Watching the seniors ladies, it was brilliant. Really enjoyed that. And by that time, I was ready to either go to number 2 or ready to leave. And Jamie, who's now the course manager at Sunningdale, was like, he's a lot older than me. He was ready to leave. So I said, well, if he leaves, I'll go number 2. I'll stay around. I like the area. Everything was there. I had a massive flat, 3-bedroom flat. Therefore, I didn't pay for anything. I had a great life. I had such a good life. So why leave? But I had applied for the Trump job. Martin put me forward for it originally. This is when all the hoo-ha was going on about it. You remember all the...
Up in Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, the very, very first time round.
Yeah.
And it just felt like you were being stitched up when you were at the interview. You just felt nothing was ready for it to be taken forward. And sure enough, the guy, I didn't get hired. I was second, and I was pretty devastated about that because it was like a dream job.
Of course, yeah.
It just wasn't meant to be. The guy that was there lasted 2 weeks and sacked, and ended up bringing in somebody from further afield. And it just wasn't. Nothing was in line then. It is now. It's all in order now. Everything.
Yeah.
Of course, friend of mine, great course manager. But at that time, they just weren't ready. They just had a lot of sorting out themselves to do, and it just wasn't meant to be. So anyway, I didn't. Just moved on from that, went back to Sunningdale, and there was no problem. They knew about it and said, look, they were, because of how a chance it was being there anyway, they were going to hold the job open for me if anything went for 3 months. So that was kind of them to offer that in the first place.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then so Jamie, Parkstone came up, and this is the weirdest thing ever. Jamie and I, again, I wasn't too bothered, but Murray's like, just apply, the pair of you. I was like, well, both of us. He's like, yeah. So we both applied for it. So we then went for a course walk around it. But the course walk was the head of the new, the head of the old, and the course manager of Sunningdale all walking around this golf course together. So the general manager, Gary Petty, is like, guys, I've got to ask this, but this is the strangest thing in the world. Why are you two going for the same job? But Jamie and I are very close pals, so we had a laugh about it. And the golf course was probably one of the worst conditioned golf courses I'd ever seen. But the land was spectacular.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got a great reputation. I'm surprised to hear.
Oh, I mean, honestly, I hadn't seen turf like it. And my head wasn't in a great place from kind of the Trump thing, and I was kind of like thinking, if Jamie will get this, it's so bad, Jamie's got to get this, He's got to get it, and then I'll just go there. So after driving up the road, I thought, I'm going to pull out of this. I didn't even want to go first place anyway. So I pulled out, and he called me up and said, why? I said, look, and I told him the truth. He said, my head's just not, my heart isn't in it. Just still, I'm still a bit disappointed from the front job, and my head's not in it. Jamie didn't even get a second interview. It's not a strong point, I'll tell you that himself. He'd be an excellent poker player. But he's one of my best mates, so he's fun. But he didn't get a second interview. So then Gary phoned Murray up and asked about me, and Murray then said to me, why don't you go and see him? So they took me down, pulled me down there, me and my missus down there, paid for us a fancy place in Sandbanks for the night, brought us food, free drink, blah, blah, blah. Had an interview with him saying, if I give you the tools for this job, can you change this golf course? I said, yeah, I can do that. I said, I can bring an architect in as well that's worthy. And I took it. It wasn't really even an interview. It was just, can you do it? We know your background. I've stumped up here. We won it. And I was like, yeah. So that was quite a big step for my missus. She's a Sunningdale girl. I really left Sunningdale. And me moving down there to harm my family was like me moving to Argentina. It didn't go down too kindly.
It's further you realise as well. I mean, you look on a map and you look on, look in Google Maps and you think, oh, it's not that far, and then you start driving, and then you're driving, and then you're driving, and you're driving a little bit further.
I don't think it's that bad. I mean, like Boston Pier, you can do like Sunningdale to Boston Pier an hour and a half easy. I don't think it's. But you can get to Scotland on a plane the same, so there's no kind of, and you can get to Sweden in not part of that time either. So
yeah,
things like that don't bother me. But it was a big thing at the time with moving down there. The family weren't very happy with me. Because I had a really steady job in Sunningdale and a free flat.
Massive course as well. I mean,
I know,
brilliant job.
Got a nice flat literally on the beach at Boston Pier. So the downtime from there, I have to say, if anybody's not ever lived by the sea before, do it. It's the best thing I've ever done. I've moved back to it in a minute. See that feeling of just coming home at night and seeing that water and the noise and just calms you. I remember Murray telling me that, and I was like, shut up, how can water do that? Shut up. And I drove over the hill for a really bad day one day, saw the sea, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go for a beer. Just something about it just changes you.
It's very calming, isn't it? Just settles a lot of feelings, and
it does.
It's just nice.
That's the word for it. And so we spent 4.5 years there. 4.5 years I managed was with the back end of the club. The club are fantastic to me. We took out like 3,000 trees. We scraped around 4 hectares of scrub. New irrigation system. Rebuilt all the farm. Got it back in the top 100 in GB&I. So that was really a place I made my name, really.
Yeah.
Stamp on it.
So just run those numbers past me again, Stephen. So 3,000 trees. How many acres?
4 hectares.
4 hectares.
So it was just covered in gorse and stuff, and that was all to regenerate heather. So that was all scraped back to organic matter material to regenerate heather. And then you're seeing these just huge undulations appear, like
right.
I've never seen them before. That was all over that place. That was a Willie Park design, and just phenomenal land. I mean, land that you don't expect to be there when you're driving round the roads of it. The perimeter, 2 halves, but it's just roller coaster stuff. It's so quirky. So you should go play it. You really should go play it. It's well worth it. Yeah. So 4.5 years there. Murray Long left Sunningdale. Sunningdale was my dream job. Obviously, he calls me and said, look, I'm going to be leaving. I'm going to put you forward. And you're thinking, the ducks are all in a row here. You've transformed this place. This is how weird life is. And I've learned a lot of this in life. All your ducks in a row, your dream is here, sits here, just watching it, thinking, I can't do any more for this golf club. I've done it in like an amazingly quick time. Not even with a lot of money. It's all natural ground juice. Gave me an interview out of courtesy, and my good friend Jamie got the job. Who was the right man for the job? He's not as quick. He'll openly admit that. He's definitely not as quick moving at me as getting things done, but still get them done. Definitely more level-headed, no doubt about that. But anyway, he's a great guy, and it's no falling out with him over nothing at all. I'm happy he got it, and he's still there. We're still great friends.
Brilliant.
So I was pretty depressed about that after that, because I felt that was like my big job, my big thing, So anyway, I went back to Parkstone. I think I was rebuilding a whole. I just finished that, and a guy called Cameron McMillan came up and says, phone me up the blue. And I nearly didn't answer the phone to him. It's like, busy, just like put it in my pocket. In fact, I didn't answer it. And Murray's texting me, why are you not on the phone to him? And I'm like, I'll call him later. Called him that night, can I come down and see you? I'm like, yeah, sure. So, showing him round. I was like, not thinking nothing of it. I was like, just thinking, because I knew he liked the area and he was just down.
Yeah.
So he phoned me again, didn't answer it. And then he got hold of me that night and he's like, look, I'm leaving Queenwood. Going to put you forward for Queenwood. I was like, oh, right.
Wish I'd answered your phone call a bit quicker.
Like, I really didn't answer. I'd said that to him. I was like, I really didn't answer that phone call again. And he's just laughing at me. He's like, well, I said, okay, can I come up and see it? I come up and see it. I had a look around with it. Completely different to kind of what I've been. You know, it's more like a kind of an old Pinehurst with a kind of Heathland twist to it, with the kind of like with the standards and setup like sawgrass, you know, everything mint. So good, the conditioning of it. And it has to be, that's what they want, that's what they get, you know. It is what it is. It's got to be tournament ready every day. So I went for an interview with a guy called Jerry Tavette. Probably the smartest guy I ever met in my life. Learned a lot of him as well. He's been brilliant. I mean, very black and white, Scottish guy, self-made, done self-made, successful, very successful man, all from scratch. And so sharp. So sharp. And nothing gets by him. And I like that. And there's definitely no grey area with him. And I like that even better. So he got off. I had 2 interviews with them and he offered me a job very quickly. And I was up and running with them.
And for people listening, Stephen, for myself, to be honest, coming down to England 10 years ago, I had no idea about Queenwood. And I still don't have much of an idea because it's such an exclusive place, but I can tell you I read some of the reviews online and the phrase you used is exactly what the people said. It's tournament ready every day. And that's testament to you and your team. I don't know if you haven't done it, and I can sense you're a humble guy, right? But you should go and read some of those reviews. I've never read reviews like that about a golf club ever. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's you know, we have 14 worldwide tour pro members there. We have a tournament now called Queenwood Cup.
I heard about this. Not in detail, so.
I don't know, it's not. Hey, the members just, there's no real money or anything involved in it. And it runs for a bit of fun. Almost like a Saturday medal, if I'm being honest with you, a bit more hyped up. But
and the players are a wee bit better.
yeah. So the member has to invite the pro.
Right.
And we've done it with the top 6 in the world there.
As you do.
The connections were unbelievable. I think last year we had Adam Scott, Justin Rose.
Was it last year that Rambo played?
Yes, he played last year. Yeah, he shanked his first into the 10th one. Graham McDowell, Richard Bland. There's loads and loads and loads of them. I can't remember them all, but
wow.
I mean, quite an amazing thing for the staff to do. And mostly, there's kind of behind closed doors. So a few members were allowed in to watch, and then most of my staff all watched. So they had a bit of fun. On the 13T, they had a track man for longest drive for a bit of fun. So watching the crash the ball was quite funny. And it was into a stiff breeze. It's strange with quite a bit for the start of July. Real stiff breeze. And it dropped, and Graham McDowell won it because the wind completely dropped. The only day it dropped, and he nailed this low time, and Rory McIlroy walked up, seeing who was there, he's like, what? So it was funny watching them trying to crash this ball by everybody. So yeah, so days like that I'll never forget about. And even when the Live boys are in town, they'll come and play.
And they're there for a clear reason, Stephen. These guys go to the places that are top quality, so that's again coming back to you and your team.
Yeah, and the guys are great. The members there are fantastic, but they expect high standards. So as long as we keep delivering, then they're happy, and they always are. And they respect the staff for it, and that goes throughout. That's not just us. From as soon as they come through the gate, the guys at Golf Services are aware. It's Valley Parking, they do their job, take clubs, clean shoes, take them down to the range for the caddy to meet them, get them anything they want while they're eating breakfast, then they're led on to the first tee. They can phone in anything to be brought out to them, all ad hoc, and it's quite a place. All the caddies are in white overalls. Tournaments to have their names on them as well, like the players' names on them. Yeah, and there's
wow.
For the
brilliant.
It's fun. It's real fun. And as I say, you're getting, all the tour pros there are all throughout the year from different parts. When they're just travelling through the area, they'll come and stay in there for a bit of peace and quiet and peace and practice. And yeah, it's good. It's not a lot of dull moments, that's for sure. For a place that's not that busy, but.
And you talked about playing Wentworth. Do you get out much these days yourself to play?
Not really. No, I probably played Queenwood, 4 or 5 times last year. A friend of mine's a member. Played a couple of times. I haven't played enough, so when you play, it's not good golf and it's not enjoyable.
It'd be a tough place to try and get your game back, right?
Yeah, I mean it's actually fun to play though. To be fair, I mean it's not that. It's just but all my team now have got 30 guys there, and probably 15 of them play. So they were actually out this afternoon, a few of them. So we've got some apprentices just taking on that into golf. So it's nice to see them play. Just as I'm about to leave again, it's nice I've got a team that's a good balance, that like each other or work for each other, because that's hard in this day and age, for different reasons, family and and then we went down the road of apprentices and we got a couple landed, we took a chance and a couple of people, and they've all been great and they've all gelled really well. There's a good balance now, and now that I'm leaving, that's probably the nicest thing that I can leave with, is doing that, because I always wanted that.
Do you see a little bit of yourself in them as well?
Nah, not like the way I was when I was that age. So it's different now. Different. It's far too. It's completely different now. But I see them enjoying themselves, and I see them. They'll work hard. They'll work really hard. They'll have their pride in what they do, and that means a lot to me. It means a lot that they'll stand by each other. We've got them into a routine that nobody kind of hides. They all help each other out, and that's one thing that teams should be.
You touched on it there, Stephen. So, despite all these incredible experiences, you just brought it up a couple of times. You're taking a step of going to Sweden now as well.
My life is full of really strange circumstances. To go back to these things are meant to happen for a reason. So I looked at Royal Buckdale when it came up last year. My favourite golf course in the UK. And I'm really interested in going there. But I had to pull out the interview stage just because we couldn't make it viable as a family, for certain things. And unfortunately that wasn't meant to be for me, but it was, I wanted to work with the secretary up there because he came back from Parkstone. It was all, kind of funneling that way again.
Yeah.
it's well documented. It's my favourite course in the UK. And
right.
I love to, but we had to, at the time, our family couldn't really move, so it just wasn't meant to be. But my friend got that job, who's doing an amazing job up there now, and I can't wait to go see it once they finish the changes. It's just such a good golf course, and it's amazing. So anyway, I got invited to hospitality at Royal Liverpool.
Last year?
Yeah. And this was on the Saturday. This was the Sunday, final day. And I'm sitting around this table, pissing down outside, sitting with a guy to the right of me, guy to the left of me, and then Ben Griffiths, who was at the time, he works at San Roque.
Right.
Intended. And the two guys next to me were architects. One was a construction owner, and one was an architect. And we're sitting just having a drink, having such a good laugh. I mean, like, just proper laugh. Thinking, we're not going outside, we're just going to sit here and watching this screen. So it was too wet, it's pissing. So we just sat and having giggles, taking the piss out each other. And this guy, who I knew was an architect, just kept dropping these things in about this new golf course he's building. One of them was the sleeper wood that he's doing his ditches with. And I had used the same wood at Queenwood. And he told me the amount of it, and I was like, holy, hold on a minute, that's a lot of money there. He's like, I know, and he told me the price. So I'm like, okay. And then he starts to tell me this place has been built on pure sand. And I was like, oh, alright. And then he's talking to the sheds. I was like, can I see some pictures? And, one thing led to another. I was like, we need to talk. And, we had a conversation that week. So we had to come up with an idea that we could make viable to move the family over there. We looked at options of different things. Struck a deal theory. He then flew me out to Hogshead to meet the board. Stayed around Hogshead, stayed at this amazing place in Hogshead, all thanks to him. But, once, and I said, obviously I need to go see the site. And once you get to this site, it's just like, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So it's like 200 metres from the sea. Trees have all been taken away, vegetation's been dug out in the sand from underneath it. It's now been brought up with 2.5 metres from the sand. And it's going to be something really special. And to be part of that, it's not about money, it's not about anything for me on this front, it's being involved in this project. And then I'm going to work with his design company, and I'm going to work with Henrik's design company as well, doing their agronomy work on their golf course builds going forward.
Right. So it's not long term. It's not just about this place. It's longer term opportunity. Yeah, massively longer term opportunity, and that was another thing that obviously they could help me with. Yeah. It was more obviously back to the day job of we got to get this place off the ground first, and the plans they have for it and the ideas they have for it, and it was everything that's going to be new to me. It's a growing, it's sand at the moment. It's going to be so exciting. I'm still apprehensive. I'm nervous about it. Of course I am. Apprehensive about moving my family over there, and I'm not normally like that. Normally I'm quite gung ho, but this one I'm thinking, this is real now. When it's your family, Stephen, it's a little bit different. It is a bit different.
Yeah, I know. Normally I've just done, kind of done and moved forward, but I've got this wee one as well, and it's not quite down the road. Although it kind of is the same as getting to Bournemouth. It's only an 20 to Copenhagen Airport.
That's the way you're telling it anyway.
But it's going to be amazing. It's going to be an experience. I've got, I'm so looking forward to it. It's a new chapter in my life, which is going to open up a lot of doors going forward, travel the world, which I've been very lucky in this job. I've been away lots of places all around the world and seen different things and places. I finish Queenwood on Friday, and I fly out to Copenhagen on Tuesday.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
What an amazing journey, Stephen. Just incredible. And in terms of questions, the only question that I wanted to ask you now was, you've had this great attitude all through your career. You've stepped up into some amazing jobs, and clearly you're playing it down, but you've obviously done a lot of hard work and had that great attitude. For you, and you touched on it earlier, what are the things for people looking to get into golf course management? What advice would you have for them?
I think you've got to listen, got to ask a lot of questions, and I think most importantly, you've got to go and experience as many venues around the world, you know, for the X amount of time. I'm not saying go there for a week. You need to go and live for 6 months to the year type thing, because that's so valuable now, and seeing people's standards and endless interest, really interested in it. It was just kicking off when I was young that you were able to do that, but you can go anywhere now. You know, give Saudi 5 to 10 years time, it's going to be the best place in the world. You know, where they're going. They're not doing all that for a reason. It's going to take time, but you know, the opportunities are just unbelievable.
Yeah. Stephen, any social media handles for the new course? Can you give the name away?
It is called Crownwood.
Crownwood?
Crownwood Golf Club in Angleville. It's on Instagram and Twitter, but mainly Instagram is, we have a social media manager who deals with that. And he puts up the CGIs, or current present, where they are at the moment, or one of the owners does it, so have a follow on that.
Brilliant. Well, Stephen, look, I really appreciate this. I hadn't spoken to you or seen you for approaching 25, 30 years, and you were kind enough in your last week before you moved to take the time with me. I really appreciate it. I'm sure the people listening to this will be blown away by some of the stories. So listen, thanks for that, and all the best for the future, and thanks for coming on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What a wonderful insight there from Steven Richardson, just before he heads off to his new venture in Sweden. Stephen, thanks so much for coming on. It was great fun to hear from you. As listeners, if you've got questions about the podcast, please send them by email to linkedbygolf@yahoo.com, or you can contact me on Instagram, linkedbygolf2024. Hope you've enjoyed listening. We'll have another episode soon. Take care. Bye bye.